Okay, so here is when COVID happened, it was like, who are you in the dark? And I was like, a graphic novel artist. And I decided to start development on this graphic novel. I know a lot of dumb teenagers start a graphic novel without knowing the direction that it's going, and that's why they fizzle out after 15 pages. So this is a very old story of mine. It stayed with me for a long time. It spent quite a bit of time as an actual, like, YA novel that I just wanted to illustrate, but then I decided I think I need to do this as a graphic novel. So I screwed my courage to the sticking place and did everything that I knew about shape work and character design and came up with this. This is METUO's human form. This was the best I had. Like, I did research on this, man, and this is such a bad design. The idea that he had, you know, kind of this swoopy hairstyle. I had zero confidence here. I mean, I was doing just like the absolute most bare basic stuff like this right, you know, here on the right, the side view is awful. That right there is just bad. And then, you know, like the boot, I've gotten a lot better since this. And I wanted to show this to people because this is from 3 years ago, that you have to look back at what you're developing, what skills you're developing, what you're thinking about, what you know now versus what you didn't know then. This kind of stuff is important. So this is the character design that I did have when I was like, okay, this is like everybody in the main cast gets a drawing and a reference sheet. But it's taken 3 years, basically, for me to, like, level up my drawing to the point where I actually felt like I could start graphic novel pages. And the best thing to do is start, don't get me wrong. But it's taken 3 years for this guy to appear in the comic. So I was like, okay, I've been drawing better sequentially, so maybe we should go back and redesign this guy. And so I did redesign him. And this is his much better shape work. And possibly in 3 years, I'll look back on this and laugh, because it's like, oh, I'm so much better now. But I feel like it's important to value the work that you've done. I tell myself that a lot, especially when I'm working on the graphic novel, because it's like, oh, we could redo this page. And it's like, no, we have to move forward. This might be a 400-page graphic novel. We have to move forward and honor the work that we have done so far. So yes, this guy doesn't appear this badly, but I bet the main character does. I bet the protagonist looks this bad. Maybe not quite this bad. I had way more confidence in the protagonist design than I did this guy. Still has those same elements of, like, you know, urban and chic, which I put in quotation marks when it comes to this guy's swank jacket. So he's got a little bit more character here. He's got a little bit more swagger. He's got a little bit more presence. And a lot of that is about the subtlety in his shape work. And this is all stuff that is, for now, full silhouette. Like, how does the entire shape at once read? Because if you don't like this, don't move forward. Go back and do as much revision as you need to. Walk away from it. Don't look at your design for, like, say, a week and then come back. But don't trash this stuff, because it's important to just build on things. Consider I draw like a sculpture. You can see where some of my lines kind of got just like chipped and shaped away, and just by the paintbrush and the strokes that I was doing, it was like, how clean do we want this? Should there be a bend here? Should it be a straight line? I know I'm gonna have a hard time keeping those curves, like the straight curve in his arm. I might have to, like, break those up and just into kind of more angles. But again, don't discount yourself just because it doesn't come out right the first time. And I do more refinement on this guy. This is not his final design. I take it back to my sketchbook, back and forth between my sketchbook and Photoshop, because Photoshop can help you do iterations really quickly and you're not having to draw things over and over again. But that's the thing. I am trying to develop something I am about to draw over and over and over again. 100 shitty drawings in me, I gotta make sure that I get them out in my sketchbook or here in Photoshop. So I take this, I put it over a human mannequin and try and make his shape work. And I will show you that as the next part of the video. So I wanted to do a video about character design because I don't talk about it that much, but it's really important and a lot of people seem to struggle with it. A lot of younger artists, and I know why, because I struggled with it too. I have a hard time with shape language. I'm still really learning a lot about shape language, and that's like the first thing that you have to consider when you're talking about character design. Whatever kind of character that you're designing, there is shape language associated with it. If you're designing a villain, it's probably a triangle. If you're designing, whoops, love you, Paul Jouve, Jouve, French big cat artist. If you are drawing a villain, you're probably doing a triangle. If you are drawing a hero, you're probably using a square. If you are trying to make a friendly or a cute character, it's probably circles. And that language is universal. It's used everywhere. And I think what a lot of people don't understand, especially what a lot of young artists don't understand, is that this right here, this shape language, this is still a square, and I'm drawing it kind of freehand. And I'm getting some line in there, and maybe a little texture, stuff that allows for enough realism to kind of maybe come in if I want it. And what young artists don't understand is that this is your style right here. What you do here in this area is where your style is. How do you draw when you are zoning out? How do you draw when you flow? How do you draw when you're listening to really good music? Your style is in there. This on the left can be an entirely different style from this on the right. There's a lot you can do by just simplifying. Just simplify. Well, it's boring. It's really not. It's actually kind of beautiful if you can get the shapes to flow into each other. Mike Mignola, the guy that does Hellboy, he has absolutely amazing shape language and absolutely beautiful drawings because he's looking at his shapes and he pays attention to every single shape in the drawing and what it does. He's a genius. And the big thing about Mike Mignola is that he can make you think that there's a graveyard full of gravestones that are kind of crumbling and surrounded by moss and are really old and cryptic by drawing a couple of crosses in the background. Like, he's really good at making his visual language inform yours, and you see a much larger world than just the panel on the comic that he's showing you. So if you are stuck with like what is good shape language, go and check out Mike Mignola's work. Just go on Pinterest and type in Hellboy, and he has amazing, beautiful, very simple shapes that just have a lot of character to them. And adding character to shape is what's most important about character design. I didn't want like his first appearance in the panel to be the very first time that I drew him. The saying is you have like 100 shitty drawings in you, and it's like this is a brand new character, and I probably have 100 shitty drawings of him. So a lot of his shape language was from this. I took the Ryu, like gloves, because I thought they were really neat. I mean neat as in precise. Like it's a very bold shape and it's a very obvious shape. So I put that, like I wanted my character, who is a kind of a heroic character like Ryu, and is based on the heroic figure. He's a Byronic hero, so he's kind of dark. He's got guy liner. He is dark and brooding, but he's, you know, handsome. And I want him to be like my sexy boy for the graphic novel. But he's also one of the main characters and a hero in his own right. He's just kind of a dark hero, and possibly with elements of an anti-hero, but I don't think I went quite that far with him. Anyway, so this shape language is great. I want him to have like kind of these gloves that cover his fingers for kind of urban fighting. He looks like somebody that could take you on. He wouldn't get mugs because he kind of looks dangerous and carries himself with kind of a dangerous presence. And there's a lot of that in here. This is a really good expression on Ryu, but I just really like the design of the arms kind of all being the same size, but still managing to make the fists stand out. So I took that shape language and I was trying to do a boot, like an armored boot, that was kind of both urban and fantasy. I guess I kind of liked these hexagonal kind of shapes, armor plate, and that was helpful for me. I felt like that had a heroic shape and it was in a boot. So I took that. These were like video game guys that have really good silhouette, especially when it comes to fashion, which is like, I cannot draw clothes. Like, holy crap. I will give you any horse you ask for, but I cannot draw clothes. So knowing what kind of variations there are, like I really liked that this guy had the leather straps on kind of his vest, and I took those and made them bigger, but I liked that shape language. That was like my favorite thing about this drawing. They're also pretty clean. I'm not looking for something complicated. This is a graphic novel character that I'm going to have to draw over and over and over. Like, I can't draw a million things. And what is it that they call them? The holographic dogs? Furry, I can't remember. The rainbow dogs. And they have all the accessories and the dyed hair and weird crap all over them. Like, you can't design those kind of characters for a graphic novel. Moving on, this kind of Ryu stance, strong, a little bit dangerous. Like there's a lot of subtlety in that kind of human pose, and I really felt it. I was kind of blowing him up and changing his proportions. I liked his kind of more adult man than teenager, because like if you look at him here, he's a little bit more adult proportions, and here he kind of looks a little bit younger. I'd say about 17 or 21, 17 to 21, and maybe this one is like 26 to 30, which is about the age of this guy. And he has a demon form, and that's his natural form, but demons can walk around in front of humanity wearing these disguises that make them look human, and they're called mask shapes. This guy's proportions are corrected and he looks more adult because I want this character to have that kind of presence, that he is a mentor to the main character, but he's older, and he's actually older by a lot because he's 70 years old. He's a demon, but among demons, that's kind of considered the equivalent of 26 to 30 in the human world. Making copies of things will do. If you want to erase something or change something, you just save an iteration of it, because there is a lot of subtlety to good character design, and the slightest push and pull could give you the shape that you want. And that's what you're looking for. To do really good character design is to just find the silhouettes and the shapes inside that silhouette. That's what good character design is about. So here I've kind of posted, literally stealing like an artist, like, okay, what is all this shape language that I like read as? And he's got kind of like wild hair, and I will show you later what his face and hair design become. But this is his basic like silhouette outline. And then when I kind of erase everything, like all of the inside lines, and just work on my outline, this is pretty much what I came up with. That it's like, okay, he's got that shape language that I liked of the kind of straps on the front of the jacket. He's got the Ryu sort of sleeves, and he's definitely wearing like a long coat, like a Matrix coat, because I want him to be very simple to draw. I like shark skin suits. I like jackets that fit very close. You can work with a very heroic silhouette like super easy with that. It's kind of like almost superhero, but I'm not quite that big on anatomy, so I'm definitely focusing more on my shapes when it comes to designing human characters specifically. But this is him, and he has kind of like a long coat. It's clean, it's simple, it evokes the idea that he has a jacket on, and he's got these clean boots that are, you know, kind of chic and urban, which is fits the comics, you know, style. He has a connection to another character who uses 2 stripes. So these 2 stripes that appear in his character design visually echo and foreshadow the relationship that he will have with the person who also has those 2 stripes in his design. And you'll see him later. He's a guy called Fen. But this is the demon METUO. And so then this is about as far as I've gotten for now, which is I have the idea that he's got kind of like wild, messy horse hair, and then this is kind of his jacket and everything else, and that I need to start playing with those shapes. And I actually go from here and start drawing in my sketchbook. I will pull those up here in the next part of the video. Thanks.